Hello and welcome to today's video. So we have finally got our hands on the Backbone controller. So we're going to be opening this up today and really looking forward to reviewing this and seeing how it works for things like cloud gaming and mobile gaming. So in the past we have reviewed things like the Razer Kishi, we've also been using the GameSir X2, and every time we talk about one of those devices, people pop up in the comments and talk about the Backbone and how good of a controller it is and how it's one of their favorites. And we've been trying to get hold of this for absolutely ages, but it just never seems to be in stock. So let's pop this open and see what all the fuss is about. So first up, in terms of price, it's the most expensive one that we've found. So this costs at the moment $99.99 in the UK. The Razer Kishi we picked up for $79.99, and it can often be found on Amazon for that sort of price. Yeah, I think on the Razer website, the Razer Kishi does cost that $99.99 or pounds. But yeah, on Amazon you can often find it at a decent price. And the GameSir X2 seems to retail for about $59.99, at least that's what we picked up for. So the Razer Kishi tends to sit in the middle. This seems to be the higher end, and I cannot get into this box. I am doing awful. Here we go. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it's worth that extra price point. Now, when you do buy it, it's one of the Microsoft certified ones for xCloud, so you do get 1 month of Game Pass Ultimate included with this. Only if you're a new user though. So if you're already subscribed to the Game Pass service, you won't get that, which is a bit disappointing. But here we go. First, let's just see what's on the back. So it comes in this quite sleek, slim box, obviously with a Backbone on there. Just a little bit about it on the back as well. So low latency connection, patch-through charge, and audio as well. So that'll be interesting because a lot of the others don't have that unless you use like an adapter. Yeah, 3.5mm headphone jack on it. So that's definitely a change versus the others. So let's have a look. I like this really kind of nondescript box here. Let's pop it open. Ooh. Here we go. So you've got this kind of foam bit there to protect it. Snap in and game on. It's all in this sort of like cardboard bit. So here we go. So line up your phone with a Backbone's lightning connector. Grab the left handle and extend it. Snap your phone in. Download the app and play. So that'll be interesting actually. It's mentioning an app there to use, but hopefully you don't have to have the app to actually use it. Let's see, does anything else come in the box? Oh. Play safe. Always remember that. Pop that aside. Here we go. So it's a lot smaller than I expected it to be. I don't know why in the pictures it always looks quite massive. And my concern was these grips here are kind of like PlayStation-esque. I thought they'd be quite long, but actually it's a really nice size. It feels really solid as well, like a really nice plastic. It's this matte plastic finish. It feels nice. It's smooth. Let's have a look. Decent weight as well, so I think the GameSir X2 was relatively heavy in comparison to something like this, but it felt quite solid. And then the Razer Kishi, which we've got here, the one downside that we found with this is that when it's fully extended on something like the 11 Pro Max, it becomes a bit of an issue in the left side where it kind of bends, but it was a decent build. Oh my. Wow, okay. So that goes really long, and kind of disappointing actually that the new iPad mini's actually gone to USB Type-C. I mean, it's good in a way, but actually this seems like it would be the perfect size for something like that if it hadn't moved across to USB Type-C, so that's a shame. It's a really strong kind of retraction there as well, so I can imagine it's got a decent clamp on it. Yeah, that feels really solid. So lightning port on the bottom. So where you've got your pass-through charging, which is really good. And then the headphone jack, so that's a massive win in terms of audio. So you don't have that on something like the Razer Kishi or the GameSir, and one of the reasons why that is massively helpful, because some people may be watching this, if you're using just general mobile gaming, it doesn't matter too much because you could use Bluetooth headphones, it's not going to interfere too much. But these kind of are made for primarily cloud gaming a lot of the time, and a lot of people are using it for that. And when you start adding in additional things like Bluetooth headphones, that all starts to interfere with that wireless signal, and it can cause some slowdowns and input lag when it comes to your cloud gaming, and it almost defeats the object of having something like this. So I like the fact they have that physical connection there. Buttons, D-pad, this kind of like smoothed out D-pad. I'm not a fan of those, but it feels decent enough. Analog sticks feel nice. Unlike the GameSir, which felt kind of hard on my thumbs, these feel decent. There's a decent amount of grip. They're not too sticky. Decent click on them as well, and they're not loud. A, X, Y, and B, decent enough. there's a good amount of click, but it feels almost mushy getting to the click, if that makes sense. Versus something like the Kishi. Kishi has a better AX, Y, and B, in my opinion at least, but they're not bad, they're just not fantastic. Triggers and your L1 and R1 are alright. They're a bit cramped, so just bear that in mind, but you probably wouldn't want to go too much bigger, because otherwise that's going to get really fidgety. But yeah, a bit cramped, but decent enough. One good thing about this versus something like the GameSir X2, they're not massively noisy. So the GameSir X2 is really, really clicky and really, really loud. And we are going to have a video comparing this, the Razer Kishi, and the GameSir X2 as well, so make sure you subscribe to catch that, and that'll be coming up in the future. So on the inside you have these sort of rubber grips as well, so it's not going to cause too much damage to your phone. You don't have to worry about it scratching too much. One thing to bear in mind is, although these are compatible with pretty much all of your iPhones, is on the iPhone 13, I believe there's an issue at the moment with its seating because of the camera bump, and they have made a 3D printed part available so you can print it off yourself, but obviously that requires you having a 3D printer, which fortunately we do, but obviously not. It's kind of a bit of a niche use case, that, so just bear that in mind. If you have an iPhone 13 at the moment, this might cause some compatibility issues with you, but anything before the iPhone 13, you're golden and are ready to go. It feels really comfortable. I actually really like that kind of additional grip there, and it doesn't add too much size. I thought this was going to be a lot bigger, so we'll just compare it in terms of size to the Kishi when that's kind of extended, and actually, when you kind of look at where the bulk starts for the Kishi, it's much bigger. And it's just not too much taller. The nice thing about the Kishi is I really like their joysticks on it. They just feel nice. They're kind of recessed nicely, so they don't feel harsh on the thumb. They feel a decent size. You just feel a little bit smaller, but not by much, and they're comfortable enough to use. But actually, this is a really decent size. It doesn't take up too much once it drops down as well, so it's easy enough to sling in a bag. But the Kishi does kind of drop down to a smaller size once it's all closed up. But actually, that's a really nice size. It feels good, and it'll definitely be interesting. Righty, so we'll try popping a phone in. I assume it's not going to fit with the case on it. It's already got quite a tight lip there. Yeah, absolutely not. So this is the iPhone 11 Pro Max, just to kind of give you an idea of size once it's all in. It doesn't have, so the Razer Kishi, not the Razer Kishi, the GameSir X2 had quite a nice feature with that lightning cable, or lightning port was sort of on a tilt, and it would move, so you didn't have to worry too much about it scraping the insides of your phones. With this, you have to just make sure you kind of extend it all the way, then clip it in, and it pops there. So once it's in there, it sits kind of just above the, sort of, as you can probably see it there, just above top of it, but it's not too bad. It's a decent fit. It's quite nice. It does obviously adds weight once you put your phone in there, but it doesn't add too much on it, and it's certainly not any heavier than something like the Razer Kishi or the GameSir X2. It's a decent weight there. Let's pop into a game, shall we? So one thing that I'm noticing straight away, so whilst that loads into Stadia, is, and it seems something that this got really bad in my opinion, is just this left-hand side. It just doesn't feel sturdy, so you're probably not going to have too much move. So when it's like this, it definitely feels a lot more sturdy than the Razer Kishi. But actually, then if you knock it slightly, it's kind of, there's too much give on it, if you can see there. That's moving a lot, and I don't like the idea of, obviously, if I knock that, it's kind of clipped in here, and it's potentially going to put quite a lot of pressure on the lightning connector here, and also on the lightning port as well. The Razer Kishi had the issue in the fact that that left-hand side kind of folded back and forth, but at least it protected it on the side. This, I suppose it's good in a way, because it means that you're going to have more compatibility with more devices in the future, or different options there, but I'm not massively keen on the fact that there's not something there just to kind of clamp it in place at the top and at the bottom. That's something that the Razer Kishi does at the sacrifice of size, so you get this kind of bit at the top and the bottom, and it really anchors the phone in place that way, so it doesn't allow it to move up and down. Probably not a massive issue, but it's definitely one worthwhile considering, just because obviously these are quite expensive devices at the end of the day, and you don't want to break them because you're playing games. Gameplay wise, this works smoothly. So to be fair, every single one of these has worked as good as the other. So the Razer Kishi, the GameSir X2, and now this all work pretty much identically in terms of input lag. There's nothing there. It's just a very nice gaming experience. I actually really like how this feels in the hand using it. So it feels very, very comfortable. With the Razer Kishi, you kind of almost having to like claw your way across it. The GameSir X2 felt nice, but again, that kind of nowhere to kind of put your fingers. So when I'm using this, I'm using it almost like hooking my fingers under there, which allows me to then to reach the triggers a bit easier. There's somewhere to put those lower fingers, which is good. I really like it. This feels very, very nice. It's angled slightly as well, so it fits into the hand really nicely. I've got to say, I am a big fan of this so far. And I can definitely see the issue there where, so this is the 11 Pro Max, and you might not be able to see it too much. If I blur myself, there you go. Where the camera goes just there. Obviously on the iPhone 13s, that camera bump is now just monumentally large. Thank you very much, Apple. So you can definitely see it would cause an issue there. So, but yeah, first impressions of this, actually, I'm more excited by it than I thought I was going to be. I was really, really impressed with the Razer Kishi, equally as impressed with the GameSir X2. And everyone was constantly going on about this, and it took us for ages to get our hands on it. I really like it. The buttons feel decent. It's lightweight. It definitely feels as though it clamps on nicely. I just wish it had a bit more protection for the ups and downs so it doesn't slide quite as much. But unless you knock your device, you're probably not going to encounter that issue too much. But we'll let you know in our full review. But it's actually a really nice device. It feels probably, so far, and bear in mind I've only had this in my hands now for, what, like 5 or 10 minutes. So far this feels like the most comfortable way to game on the mobile phone, so that'll be interesting. So let us know if you've got any questions about this in the comments below, and we'll do our best to answer those. So we will have a full review of it coming up probably in the next week or so, and we'll also be doing the comparison of this versus something like the Kishi and also the GameSir X2, especially from a perspective of cloud gaming. Are you using this, or are you using one of the other game controllers instead? Let us know in the comments. And while you're down there, hit that like button, because it helps YouTube to show this video off to more people, and that just helps the community to grow faster. And yeah, that's just fantastic. So we'll be back in the future with some more awesome content. I'll have a review of this and a comparison to the other controllers. But in the meantime, stay safe, and we will see you soon.